Hi, my name is Patrick. I'm a musician and artist in Los Angeles. Thank you for reviewing my submission. I'd like to propose a sound and music installation that explores the cyclical process of growth, destruction, and regeneration in the forest. The concept was inspired by a recent trip to Big Basin after the fire. I'll speak about my personal experience and how it relates to the piece, the concept for the piece, and then a bit about my artistic background. I learned about the Art About on a recent visit to Big Basin. I was eager to see the park after the fire. At the same time the CZU Lightning Complex was burning in Big Basin, the Bobcat Fire burned through Angeles National Forest in LA County. The fire went through all the parts of the forest I knew best. I'm an avid backpacker, and this was right in my backyard. I was camping right by where the fire started just a month prior. This fire was crushing. It was the first fire that felt really personal to me. I just spent so much time in this place. I was able to do some volunteer trail work in the burn area just a month after the fire started. And while it was reassuring to see some familiar places, it was still impossible for me to see beyond the destruction and loss. In contrast, visiting Big Basin 2.5 years after the fire, you see the complete cycle, both destruction and the regrowth all at once. Charred redwoods have new branches shooting out. Dead trees are surrounded by shocks of green. Robins and chickadees were everywhere, conducting business as usual. It was inspiring to see this regenerative part of the cycle. I want to create a piece that mirrors these cyclical processes in the forest: growth, destruction, regrowth. I'd like to help others see this holistic aspect of the cycle instead of just the initial shock of the fire. The piece will be a sound and music composition that repeats in cycles. Every cycle is unique, and the piece repeats indefinitely. Each cycle, a composition slowly builds, then it is torn down, and the process repeats. Each composition is related to the others, planting the same seeds, drawing from the same source material, but no two sound the same. The sound palette will comprise field recordings of the forest that I'll make during the trip, as well as more tonal, instrumental elements. I can show you a recent exploration I made using some of the same techniques that I would use for this piece. It's very different in tone from what I would do for this project, but it'll give you a sense of what's possible. I can cue multiple cells, which combine to create interesting textures. These cells are uniquely generated every time. If I reset them all and start again, you can hear that the result is different, but sounds similar. Each new cell is one of a kind, but related and compatible. Compared to the demo I just showed you, the piece I would create for the Art About would be less simplistic and rhythm-driven and more freely flowing. I want, of course, to allow space for inspiration and planning on the trip, but I do know that I want the resulting compositions to be organic, musical, and varied. As for practical matters, the piece will be flexible, portable, and accessible. It will have an optional visual component that can be displayed on a screen to accompany the music, and I'll provide information for an interpretive panel to help the audience gain a fuller appreciation of the message and intent. I'm including a link to a CV, but I'll speak very briefly about my background. I've composed music for film and TV and had commissioned pieces performed in 9 countries. I've worked as a graphic designer for UC Santa Cruz, UCLA, and the city of Miami Beach. I create art that critiques capitalism and corporate culture. Much of this is informed and made possible by my professional experience. I'd be really honored to be part of this project. It feels like a truly special opportunity. Thank you for your consideration.